next on ACC Live Tip-Off. Has Roy Williams finally found his best lineup? Should he change the starting five for tomorrow's battle with Maryland? Also,
down the lane, Anderson.
Wow. Ryan Anderson doesn't get a ton of publicity, but he does get a lot of what really matters, buckets and boards. Mike Gminski spotlights the BC big man. And
Len throws it down.
Alex Len was the hero for the Terps Wednesday night. Shane Larkin's been spectacular for the Canes. Quinn Cook has taken charge in Durham. Who is the most improved player in the conference? That's coming up on ACC Live. Tip-off next. It is the TGIF edition of ACC Live. Welcome here to the ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. I'm Jeff Fischel with former Duke and NBA great Mike Gminski. Friday, it's ACC Live Tip-Off, your first look at all of the weekend games here in the ACC. Plus, Mike breaks down our spotlight player, Ryan Anderson. Fantastic season for Boston College. Is he the second best big man in the ACC? Behind Mason Plumlee. And it's man versus machine. How did Mike do with his picks last week against the SC ACC Hoops Game Simulator? We'll see who man and machine picks for this weekend's games. And we want to know which player has been the biggest surprise so far in the ACC. Shane Larkin, Quinn Cook, Alex Len, Reggie Bullock. Your vote at the ACCDN. Results coming up, but first, it's time for the weekend menu brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Wake Forest and Virginia Tech, Mike.
Well, I think that Harris and Mackay have to come up big as they normally do. Wake struggles on the road, and Virginia Tech already has lost at home, but I think Eric Green and Jarrell Eddy have a big night.
Eric Green, of course, #1 in the country, 24.8 points a game. Florida State travels to Charlottesville.
Florida State's been enigmatic to me this year, and picked it up early in the ACC play, lost to North Carolina, still struggling with the point guard. I think Virginia, frustrating to play against. They've got to find scorers other than Joe Harris.
Definitely Joey Hoops has been playing well, but he needs some support. Sunday, NC State trying to recover from the loss at home versus Clemson.
Yeah, and Clemson, another team that struggles on the road. Their big guys have to play big, Jennings and Booker, but NC State, so much firepower on the offensive end of the floor, play well at home.
And our spotlight game tomorrow at noon. Maryland at North Carolina. The Terps with a last-second win over number 14 NC State. Carolina has had a week off since the win over Florida State. A solid performance that was by the Tar Heels. They fought hard, got big contribution from P.J. Hairston, 23 points off the bench, to save UNC from starting 0-3 in the conference. Now, Mike, I'm seeing Tar Heel fans talk about on Twitter asking for P.J. Hairston to get into the starting lineup. What do you think of him versus Dexter Strickland?
Well, this has been an interesting week for North Carolina. They've had a week off to practice, and usually it takes something calamitous for Roy Williams to change the lineup. So I don't think he's going to really make any tweaks at this point.
He likes the defense coming in off the bench. Certainly P.J. Hairston's been great. Now, people are tweeting about this. They're saying, come on, Roy, listen to us. Lance Dunlap says, all right, UNC, it's time to free PJ and replace Strickland with Hairston in the starting lineup. And also C. Highway. I guess PJ Hairston will never start over Dexter Strickland. Shake my head. Fans, they want the offense.
Well, but yeah, the thing is, I mean, he's going to play 20-plus minutes a game. Now, you want to have the PJ Hairston that played down in Tallahassee and shot lights out. The prior two games, he combined for 13 points.
That's the big issue, right? Does it really matter who starts as long as Hairston gets his minutes?
Yeah, see, I've never been hung up on that, and I know that Roy Williams likes Strickland out there for his defense. I think a lot of it, too, is going to be Marcus Page and how he grows into that position. That's going to be a big key for them going forward.
Let's not discount what Strickland brings to the table. He's #1 in the ACC right now in assist-to-turnover ratio, so he's very reliable.
And again, it's a guy that Roy Williams trusts, and he's going to be out on the floor. That's just a fact of life.
So North Carolina and Maryland tomorrow at noon on ESPN. Last night, if you were watching, Duke got off to a slow start against Georgia Tech in Durham, but the Blue Devils got things going against the Yellow Jackets in the second half. Remember, Georgia Tech went into this game 0-3 in the ACC, really needing a win, but it's not the place to find one. Freshman Chris Bolden hits the three from the corner, 26-19, Georgia Tech with a 7-point lead. Rashid Suleiman, he'd struggled in the previous two games, just 1 of 15 from the field, buries the three. He had 3 of them in the game, 15 points. Duke down 1 at the half. They weren't getting much from Mason Plumlee until the second half.
Well, Daniel Miller, I think, really outplayed him in the first half, but then a fire lit under Plumlee at halftime, I'm sure, and he came out and responded. Mike Krzyzewski needs to play like a player of the year, and he certainly did in that second half with a double-double.
Coach K loved it so much, he gives him a big, big hug. We'll talk about more about this and reaching your players and how to motivate them coming up later in the show. Seth Curry, fantastic. 6 of 7 from three-point range. Mom's fired up. Robert Carter Jr., scary moment here. The big slam, holding onto the rim, and falls hard.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you fall like that, and it's really scary. It seems like it's about 5 minutes from when you let go of the rim till you hit the floor, but he went squarely on his back. Not a lot of padding there, but would be okay.
He would get up. He would return to the game a few minutes later. Duke up 11, the shot clock winding down. Who do you want with the ball in his hands? Seth Curry. No problem, buries it again. He had 24 points, leading everyone. And then Mason Plumlee pads the stats.
Why not leak out, get yourself an easy bucket at the end of the game? But how about Curry doing that without any practice time, really?
He's really, that's Coach K has said, he does not get out enough in practice because of the injury. But Plumlee, 16 points, 13 boards, 73-57, the final. You know, for a first half, I thought, wow, this team is walking a fine line without Ryan Kelly, really struggled. But in the second half, they turn it around. But it seems like this team may have to figure out how to do it for a while without Ryan Kelly.
Well, I don't think there's any question. And interesting change in the lineup with Suleiman coming off the bench. He responded to that. Tyler Thornton gives him another ball handler and some defense, also can shoot the three. So they're going to do things on the fly. And also, I like what Emil Jefferson's given him.
He looks like he's ready to play. He said he's embracing his role like a hot dog in a bun. That's what he says. I like that. I'm good. I've told him. I tweeted him out.
Without the mustard.
Let's go back to that scary moment last night. Robert Carter Jr. hanging on the rim. When you're hanging up there, what are the choices you have, right?
Well, you just have to have a sense of who's around you. But in this case, he didn't see Plumlee behind him. And as he's walking out of the play, that's where he gets hung up. And like I said, you get your feet up in the air. It's a scary thing.
We saw the same kind of thing a couple nights ago.
But you look at this, and everything's in front of him. And
KJ
McDaniel is able to hang on. He sees everybody, and the referee's not going to make that call. He knows he's just trying to protect himself, and you can even see him looking around and make sure the deck is clear.
All right, more on Duke coming up. By the way, next week, big battle with Miami, the only undefeated team in the conference, 4-0 in the ACC. I'll talk with Coach Jim Larrañaga. You'll see that interview the day of the game. That's next Wednesday. But first, here's some headlines from across the conference. Here's what's happening in the ACC now. North Carolina State may have found its quarterback of the future, but new coach Dave Doran's going to have to wait a little while. Ex-Florida QB Jacoby Brissett is transferring to NC State. He has to sit out a year, but he will battle for the starting job in 2014, and he has 2 years left of eligibility. He was considered a top recruit coming out of high school. More proof of just how good soccer is in the ACC. 5 men's players were taken in the first round of the MLS Super Draft yesterday. BC's Kyle Becker went number 3 overall. Real Salt Lake took Maryland's John Sturzer at number 12. UNC midfielder Mikey Lopez went 14 to Sporting KC. Maryland's Taylor Kemp at 17. And the last pick of the first round, the LA Galaxy, they took another Boston College Eagle, Charlie Rugg. Women's hoops last night. Big wins at home for Maryland, Miami, and North Carolina. Clemson and Florida State got road wins. So here are the standings. Duke and North Carolina undefeated. In fact, the Blue Devils, they haven't lost out of conference either. They are the only undefeated team, men or women, in all of college basketball. But I would say they get a stiff text coming up Monday. Duke takes on the UConn women. There you see the second half of the standings. Wake and Boston College still trying to fight their way into the conference standings. That's the ACC now. So we've been asking who's the best surprise in the ACC? Is it Reggie Bullock, Shane Larkin, Alex Len, Quinn Cook? We're tallying your votes, and Mike Gminski weighs in. He breaks the tie, really. That's coming up. Also ahead, Boston College is going through some growing pains with so many young players. But Ryan Anderson is proving he's ready to bang down low with the big boys night after night. A look at our spotlight player coming up.
Out with the old and in with the delicious. Commit to bold taste with the new Flavor Resolutions menu at Ruby Tuesday. 10 entrees starting at $9.99. Try our savory barbecue brushed ribs and bacon wrapped shrimp. Or take it up a notch by adding coconut crusted shrimp to our mango salsa topped Caribbean chicken. Plus, enjoy our endless garden bar, free with any chef-inspired entree. Ruby Tuesday. It's all good here. Start the new year with savings. Visit rubytuesday.com today for a $5 coupon.
What's better, bigger or smaller?
Bigger!
So which would you rather have, a big treehouse or a small treehouse?
If it's big enough, you can have a disco. Oh, yeah.
Why do you not want a smaller treehouse?
Because it wouldn't be able to fit a flat screen TV, and then the TV would be about this big, and you would have to hold the wire. In the position you would hold the wire, you wouldn't be able to see the TV.
That's a pain in the buns.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not complicated. Bigger is better, and AT&T has the nation's largest 4G network.
The ACC Digital Network, the ultimate video destination for ACC fans. exclusive highlights, live streaming games, and original live programming, unique access to the student athletes of our time and the legendary voices of all time. Defining moments, personal stories, incredible analysis from authentic ACC sources, cutting-edge content from the leaders in the digital space. The ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
Good afternoon, Chase Sapphire. This is Stacy from Springfield.
Oh,
hello.
Hello? Yes, I didn't realize you'd be talking to an actual person.
You don't need to press 0. I'm here.
Reach a person, not a prompt, whenever you call Chase Sapphire.
Down the lane, Anderson, as he slams in the bucket. Anderson will try and buries it. Huge three, Ron Anderson.
And Anderson cleans it up.
Anderson set the screen and then rolls. Wow.
Welcome back to the ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. This is ACC Live, and Friday it's Tipoff. He's Mike Gminski. I'm Jeff Fischel. We're asking, who's the surprise player in the ACC? Tweet us at the ACCDN. Shane Larkin, Alex Len, Quinn Cook, Reggie Bullock. Which guy has surprised you the most? Mike unveils his pick in a minute. But first, our spotlight player, and it is Boston College big man Ryan Anderson. You've been impressed.
Well, he's really been terrific this year, had a good finish, and they run a lot of screen and rolls, and they have great spacing. You'll see the screen is denied right here. Anderson's guy has to drop off and help on defense, and he just rolls right into the middle, makes himself available. You see the defense flattened out. The weak side is not all the way over. He's got a clean lane in, and he is going to finish that play. Another pick and roll, but this time they use the screen, and he rolls into the lane. Again, good spacing. There's a shooter, Joey Rahan, out on the perimeter. It draws the defense, lose sight of where he is, and Anderson just sneaks behind and gets a nice layup. And then in this play, it's a different way to screen. It's a screen, but a pick and pop, and it shows his versatility. There's a hard show on the screen, and instead of rolling into the lane, Ryan Anderson will pop out. He's got 15 to 18-foot range, and he really makes you pay.
Ryan Anderson, 4th in scoring, 3rd in rebounding in the ACC. He has been very good, and he is our spotlight player of the day. But who's the surprise in the ACC? We gave you 4 choices: Reggie Bullock, Quinn Cook, Shane Larkin, Alex Len. And here are the results for the day. We've got a 3-way tie. Larkin, Cook, and Len all impressing voters at home. Reggie Bullock also getting votes. All right, so those are the vote totals. Now we need to find out who Mike Gminski likes. Who is your surprise player in the conference?
Well, as head of the Senate, I'm going to break the tie here, and I'm going to go with Alex Len. I think, interesting, last year the guy was really uncomfortable, had to learn the language and spend as much time doing that as his classroom work. But this year really has hit a comfort level. You look at him, 13.5 points, 8 rebounds per 3 offensive rebounds, really solid low box game, legitimate 7-footer, averages 2 blocks, shoots 55%. Very efficient, one of the best big men in the conference.
He looks truly to be getting comfortable, more and more comfortable every game.
Yeah, and I think Mark Turgeon said as much. He talked about it last year, talked about all the struggles that he went through off the court, but much more comfortable this year, and it's showing in his play.
That can matter a lot to a guy, being able to communicate. I mean, it seems very simple, but he really didn't understand teammates. He didn't understand the coach.
Yeah, you think about that, what a transition is, a long way from home as well.
Yeah, now from surprise player to a surprise moment, or more like a surprise hug. Let's go back to last night. You saw it earlier. Coach K, in our must-see moment, after Mason Plumlee with the dunk down low, it's rare you see Coach K get this kind of give this kind of emotion to a player during a game.
Well, it's interesting that I'm sure that the halftime speech was directed at Plumlee, and usually he jumps at guards who he's like on the same level with. It's not with big guys. It's a very emotional moment between coach and player.
Every coach has to figure out how to motivate and reach out to his players, right?
Absolutely, and different guys have different buttons that you push. And I remember a coach of mine one time sat down to me at halftime and looked at me and said, 1 rebound, you're having a heck of a game, huh, Mike?
The subtle approach works. A lot of fans saw the hug. They started tweeting about it. Charlie Green says this: color me impressed by Coach K's energy. Oh, there's the Devil Wolf. We can talk about that one. Coach K goes full vampire attack on Mason Plumlee. I didn't see like the Twilight look. Well, that's Devil Wolf, by the way, is a huge Duke fan. He follows ACC sports very closely. He's a big fan. And then here's Charlie Green. Color me impressed by Coach K's energy last night and transformation of Mason Plumlee. I hope James Michael McAdoo of North Carolina can make that kind of progress. clearly a UNC fan, but we've seen that growth from Mason Plumlee.
No, absolutely. And Mike Krzyzewski asked him to play like a player of the year and be a leader this year, and he has. But how about that? The all-time winningest coach after all these years, still that passion during a game.
That's a really good point. So, you know, he's still working with 18 to 21, 22-year-olds, and he runs up to one of them and just gives them a big hug. It made for the moment of the night, the must-see moment, and fans are loving that clip. It's time for our weekend picks. Mike Gminski versus the fans versus the computer. Let's see what happened last weekend. Gminski, the G-Man, knows better than the fans versus the machine. 3-3. But that's good enough to lead the way so far after one weekend. The game simulator for SCACCHoops.com can break down every game. You pick the two teams. You pick the home court. It'll tell you who it thinks will win. All right, so now let's talk about what we're expecting this weekend. It's a good time to talk about these games. First of all, let's see what the picks are, shall we? Maryland, North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm gonna go North Carolina. A week off to retweak things. Maryland coming off a very emotional win.
Everyone agrees, including the computer. The computer predicting a close game. Do you think it'll be close?
Not that close. If Jarrell Eddy has a big game, Eric Green's going to be pretty consistent. Wake Forest has to find ways to manufacture offense.
All right, so that's the first two games. Then the other two games on the schedule, Florida State and Virginia. There's some disagreement right there. You like UVA.
Yeah, you know, on surface, Florida State, all the athleticism, the size, but Virginia has a way of frustrating people. I think they get this win.
Florida State, and as you pointed out, they've been a little tough to get a finger on for this to get a handle on.
Yeah, and for the last one, NC State, I just think they have too much firepower for Clemson on the offensive end.
Yeah, that's a game where you could really just look at how many points are scored and see if it's going to be close. Clemson wants to keep it down to the 40s or 50s.
Right, and the game already a sellout. The crowd has been terrific there at PNC, and supporting that team, I just think there's too much emotion.
Hey, we want to make sure we thank John Pence. He's the editor and creator of SCACC Hoops for giving us the computer's picks every week. The game simulator, like I said, you can go to that website and see who the computer thinks will win. Hey, there's one more game featuring two teams that are coming to the ACC, a big top 10 battle, Syracuse and Louisville. The Orangemen are number 6 in the country. The Cardinals, number 1. Talk about this game for a minute with two future schools that are coming to the conference.
Well, and the contrasting styles, really. You look at it, and Michael Carter-Williams for Syracuse, a terrific young point guard. They play that zone oh so well for Jim Boeheim. And then for Rick Pitino, a lot of pressing. Peyton Siva, a senior. This team has been to the Final Four. I think they're battle-tested. Should be a terrific game.
Yeah, no doubt. Two of the top 6 teams in the country. That's ACC Live. We're here every Monday through Friday at noon on the ACC Digital Network. The show, follow the hashtag ACC Live on Twitter. He's Mike Gminski. I'm Jeff Fischel. We will be back next Monday through Friday to break down all the games. And remember, all weekend long on the ACC Digital Network, we are bringing you the best highlights of all these weekend games. Thanks for watching.